Good night, I am Mark Seal. The highly anticipated semi-final match in the Herman Griffith Primary Schools cricket competition between defending champions Bailey's and Eden Lodge, which was set to be completed today at Dover, has now been postponed until next Monday at Burr Hall. Both teams were geared up and ready to compete, but upon assessing the pitch, the two coaches felt the conditions were dangerous and not fit for any kind of competition, whether for adults or children. Coach of Bailey's, Ronald Greenidge, gave his assessment of the ground.
When we inspected the pitch and the outfield, we realized that the pitch itself is not really of the standard required for this stage of the competition or for any junior cricket for that matter. The outfield is very bumpy, but the main concern is the main strip, which has a number of divots in it that was covered by mud. It's been rolled over, but they started to move already. We have won the toss and we put the opposition in, but I totally sympathize with Eden Lodge. In our position, we would strongly protest playing the game here today. I don't think this wicket or the ground, the facilities is conducive to the semi-finals of this competition. I think it's a danger to the young children to play cricket on that wicket. They're only kids. Even adults would have a problem playing on that wicket. Some of the boys that are playing in this competition are fairly quick, and you know, if the ball was to pop unexpectedly, somebody could get hurt. We don't want to take that opportunity or that chance.
Now, the Eden Lodge coach, Errol Holder, said based on his 30 years experience as a groundsman, he immediately concluded that the pitch was not properly prepared.
From the time I came this morning, I look at the wicket as a groundsman, I look at the wicket, I see the wicket wasn't properly prepared, right? Had spots in it, right, where you can see the dirt, long grass on the wicket, right? And they have some spots on the wicket where the groundsman, like, he just push things in and roll onto the wicket. And these are kids, right? These are big people to come and play on that type of wicket, right? And it ain't good for cricket. It ain't good for cricket. The wicket should be either covered or properly prepared. The wicket wasn't properly prepared. If you look around the pasture, there's a semi-final game, and the field ain't cut nothing at all, right? The field ain't cut nothing at all. There's real poor for a semi-final game, right? So are you willing to play? Once the ground is properly prepared and the wicket is properly prepared, we are willing to play anywhere.
Coordinator of the competition for the National Sports Council, Adrian Donovan, said a meeting was held between the two coaches, the organizers, sponsors, guardian group, and the umpires, and it was decided that in the best interest of cricket to postpone the match until Monday, 10 a.m. at the Burr Hall playing field. Now, Reynolds Weeks are through to the finals of that same Guardian Group Primary Schools cricket competition after they defeated St. Giles by 34 runs at Burr Hall in the other semi-final. Choosing to bat first, Reynolds Weeks posted 95 for 6 from their 25 overs. Jakeem Pollard top scored with an unbeaten 34. For St. Giles, Sanchez Reed Haynes was the pick of the bowlers, taking 2 for 8, while Jaden Martindale took 2 for 20. CBC's Damien Best has some of those highlights.
Reynolds Weeks at this stage, 54 for 4. Jakeem Pollard adding to the tally, whipping Isaiah Griffith to the square leg boundary in style. St. Giles looking for more wickets, turning to Jaden Martindale, and he gets his man Kishma Glasgow clean bowl for 4. The score now 61 for 5. Martindale looking for another, breaks the edge of the new batsman Ramir Harewood, but it races away to the third man boundary for 4 more. Pollard, a bit quiet at the other end, reignites his flame, finding the square leg boundary. Yearwood getting his line all wrong, same treatment through the fielders and into the ropes. Sanchez, Reed Haynes into Harewood now, straight into the hands of the fielder at point. The score now 86 for 6. Reynolds Weeks would make it 95 for 6 at the end of the innings to set a target of 96 runs for St. Giles to chase. Damien Best, CBC Sports.
Thanks, Damien. And in reply, St. Giles were bowled out for 61 in 18.5. None of the batsmen made over 10 runs. Mackay Greenidge starred with the ball, taking 5 for 18, while Rajai Giddens took 3 for 12. Switching sports now to basketball, where Cleveland Cavaliers have won for the 8th consecutive time, beating the Philadelphia 76ers last night. Cleveland are now a half game behind Detroit Pistons for second place in the NBA's Eastern Conference. The Lodge School are into the semi-finals of the National Sports Council's Under-19 basketball knockout tournament. After being down by 13 points at halftime, the Lodge rallied at home to defeat the Barbados Community College by 6. The Lodge point guard Rashad Hall realizes the BCC defense was slow in getting back, so he quickly advances the ball for his teammate to get the basket and the foul from this circus play. BCC also got an opportunity to force the pace. So quick were they that this play ended up being a 2-on-1 layup for Nathaniel Waith. Waith's teammate Darren Nurse was also a factor. Here, first he blocks Hall with those long arms, then he stays with the play for the layup over the times shorter defender. Now maybe BCC should look at getting the ball to Nurse more often, as his height is clearly an advantage. Here he is hanging out under the ring, and all they have to do is get it to him. This one he banks off the backboard, 2 of his 12. This sequence at the start of the second quarter was positive for both teams. First, Lodge got Anthony Maynard going as he banks the 3. Then, Zachary Moore decides to take on 4 Lodge defenders, all by himself, and he still got it to drop. Talking about solo efforts, Hall found himself marked by 2 BCC defenders, but their running backwards were no match for him at full steam. He got the layup. An unfortunate play here for BCC. Hunt, in going for the tap slam, gets undercut by Hall, and he falls flat on his back. He would stay on the court for a bit, but eventually he would continue. BCC up 29-13 at the half. Lodge, though, will have a monster second half, scoring 48 points. Maynard, pivoting, and being patient. He had 12. Lodge employed a full-court press on defense, and it forced several turnovers, and it also rushed several shots. This one led to Hall getting 2 more of his game-high 18. Hall only had 6 points in the first half, but doubled up on that stat in the second. Here, after Nurse had yet another block shot, Hall showed no fear and took the rock to the BCC shot blocker, faking him to eventually get the basket. Lodge, still running, still sharing the ball and making the extra pass. This time, the beneficiary was Kimar Ben, who banks 2 of his 11. Then it was about that time. Showtime. Hall crossing over Zachary Moore en route to the open layup. BCC, though, had a large enough first half lead that they were still in it. With the fast break layup, 2 of his team high 17. On now to late in the fourth, Lodge up and running time off the clock. BCC doing the right thing in double teaming Hall, but that opens Maynard to waltz in for the easy 2. Up by 6 with 10 seconds to go, Hall, with no double team, dribbles out the clock for Lodge to win 61-55 and advance to the semi-finals. Megan Best reaffirmed her status as the best female squash player in Barbados with a commanding victory in the BOA Invitational Independence Games Open Championships at the Marine Gardens recently. In the ladies' final, Best brushed aside the 2016 champion Karen Meekins in 3 straight sets at 3, 6, and 5. Meanwhile, on the men's side, Jason Doyle won a 5-game thriller against Rhett Cumberbatch after the scores were locked at 2 games apiece. CBC's Damien Best reports.
Ladies final, Megan Best up against Karen Meekins in yellow. Best with the serve. Meekins high off the back wall, then goes for the drop to win the point. Best was ruthless in the opening game, making full use of the angles and adjusting racket speed when required. Meekins not fast enough. Another long rally here. Meekins searching for the openings, trying to catch Bess on her heels, but Megan active as ever, responding with a couple drives. Then the kill to end it all. Bess going on to claim the first game at 11-3. In the second, Meekins trailing 1-4, but mounting a mini fight back. Nice get to add another point and making it 2-4. At this stage, Meekins was still in with a chance, but needed to string the points together. Backarm drop, nicely done. However, she was only able to put 6 points on the board before Bess poured on the good stuff to win the second 11-6. Smash into the neck. In the third, Bess looking to wrap this one up. Meekins hanging on by a shoestring, sending Bess to fetch it in the backcourt. Then a drop for the winner. Bess, though, is a smart campaigner and put her court position to good use. Off the sidewall here, and Meekins stuck in the mud. Bess wrapping up the victory, 11-5 in the third, to be crowned the ladies champ. Another big drive. What a performance. On to the men now. Rhett Cumberbatch battling Jason Doyle in blue. We pick this one up in the fourth with things tied at 2 games apiece. Doyle with a strike just above the tin, and Cumberbatch can only watch. Then to wrap it up, Cumberbatch with an unforced error. Doyle takes it 11-4. In the fifth now, Cumberbatch regrouping. The strategies stay in the rallies for as long as possible. Case in point, Doyle busy, not able to return from backcourt. Then a couple plays later, a keen jostle for superiority in the front court. But Cumberbatch with the nick, aka the creeper. He's down by just one, 5-6. Cumberbatch would indeed level at 6-all, but an unforced error would hand Doyle the lead. Skip ahead, Cumberbatch down by just one again, 7-8. He's zoned in, trying to string the points together. What an effort between these two. Doyle with the drive, but he gets in the way of his own shot. We're tied at 8-all. Doyle made up for that error on the very next play, giving Cumberbatch the run around, then taking advantage of the front court. Doyle up 10-8 here, one away from victory, but the Cardinals sin an unforced error to give Cumberbatch a sniff. But Doyle will close out the contest to take the Men's Open Championship 9-11, 5-11, 11-9, 11-4, 11-9 over Rhett Cumberbatch. Damien Best, CBC Sports.
On out of football, where the FIFA World Cup finals, well, they're in the air, and although the event in Russia isn't until next year, the draw for the groups will be made this week.
Well, the countdown continues to this week's World Cup draw in Moscow. The qualification campaign is over. 32 nations booking their spots for Russia 2018. But now the focus is on who'll draw who on Friday. The countries go into 4 seeding pots, and from there they'll be drawn into 8 groups of 4. The host Russia are in pot 1, where they'll be joined by the 7 highest-ranked teams. Now, if you're in the same pot, you just can't be drawn against each other. For example, Spain and England can't be in the same group. Something else to bear in mind too, no teams from the same confederation except for UEFA, it's Europe, can be drawn to play against each other, with a maximum of 2 European countries in any one of the 8 groups. Pot 4 is where we find the lower-ranked countries, among them Japan, who've reached their 6th consecutive World Cup. And in the nation that co-hosted the 2002 tournament, they can't wait for it all to get started.
And still to come, a charity spreading the love of cricket across the Caribbean.
The Barbados Coat of Arms.
The Barbados Coat of Arms was designed by Mr. Neville Clark Connell. He was a director at the Barbados Museum at the time. The golden shield of the arms carries 2 Pride of Barbados flowers and the bearded fig tree, which was common on the island at the time of its settlement. On either side of the shield are the supporters. On the right is a dolphin, symbolic of the local fishing industry. On the left, a pelican, representing Pelican Island, which existed off Barbados. Above the shield is a helmet and mantling, and on a reef is the arm and hand of a Barbadian holding two crossed pieces of sugar cane, symbolic of the sugar industry. This is a saltire cross, the cross upon which St. Andrew was crucified. Independence Day is celebrated on November 30th, which is St. Andrew's Day. The motto Pride and Industry is at the bottom of the coat of arms. Community Files.
As part of the activities for CARICOM Energy Month, everyone is invited to view a German energy exhibition from Monday, November 27th to Saturday, December 2nd from 9 a.m. until 5 p.m. at the University of the West Indies Cave Hill campus. The exhibition highlights Germany's transition to sustainable energy. The event is organized by the CARICOM Secretariat in partnership with the Division of Energy and Telecommunications.
Of the island's primary schools and 5 secondary will benefit from a donation of cricket gear by an Australian-based charity aimed at developing the game at the grassroots level. The Caribbean's children's cricket charity, now in its second year, is on the island for an inaugural visit. Founder Tamara Lowe says the initiative, which is being partnered by the local Variety Children's Charity, was created out of her love for the game of cricket and for children.
The idea came to me that, there was a lot that we could do in Australia to try and support children who may not have access to cricket gear. And I started collecting as much spare equipment as I could. It's a very simple idea. We're trying to put bats and pads and gloves and helmets and playing uniforms into the hands of cricket-loving children here in this proud cricketing region of the world, who may not necessarily have access to enough gear.
Now, a number of former cricketers have signed on to the charity as ambassadors, including former Australian cricketer Jason Krejza, along with Windies legends Sir Richie Richardson, Gus Logie, Ridley Jacobs, and Sir Vivian Richards. Now, local Windies legend Desmond Haynes is the charity's ambassador for Barbados, and he sees such an initiative as important, not only honing and developing the skills of the region's young cricketers, but also in aiding in the preservation of the legacy of the Caribbean as a proud cricketing region.
Through my cricket career, I've always felt that the possibility of giving back should always be the first thing on your mind. I remember at Middlesex, I used to collect some of the second-hand stuff. I think Roland would probably know about this because he was my teammate as well. And in England, the guys, after using a pair of batting gloves for a couple of days, and they realized it's wet, they would throw it in the dressing room, and I would ask Gats and the guys to just put it aside, so that I can send it to Barbados. Now, when I was contacted by Tamar asking to be an ambassador, I told her that it would be a great idea because it's only last year that I was involved in a similar project here, whereas that I collected some gear from two counties in England, and I distributed along with the cricket legends of Barbados to all of the primary schools and some of the secondary schools. So I thought, well, Tamar come in and with this initiative to bring stuff all the way from Australia, which is something that I think is, you've got to give her a lot of credit for because it is so difficult to get to Australia.
Well, Eagle Hall Primary, represented by students Javante Bovell and Shanico Hill, accompanied by their physical education teacher Ronaldo Weeks, were the first beneficiaries of the donations here on the island. Ms. Lowe and her team will be joined by Windies women's cricketer Hayley Matthews and former Test bowler Tino Best in distributing gear to the other selected schools, including some of the island's special need units. The charity, which started its mission in Antigua at the beginning of this month, is expected to have outreach programs in Trinidad and Tobago, Jamaica, and the other islands in the region within the coming year. Here's what's going on tomorrow, November 29th. The quarterfinals of the Inter-Parish Road Tennis Tournament get going at the Silver Hill facility from 6:30 p.m. It will also be finals night in the Airport T20 Tapeball Tournament at Rice's. That game, believed, will start at 8 o'clock. Well, that's a wrap on Sports Night for Tuesday. I am Mark Seal. Do have a good night.
Watching CBC TV 8 in beautiful Barbados.